Las noticias llegan como un trueno. Cada día una historia nueva. El podcast te envuelve en un frenesí. Me lo dices o me lo cuentas. Así, titulares que golpean. El ritmo no se detiene, fluye. Analizamos el orden. Mañana, quién sabe qué sucede. Me lo dices o me lo cuentas. El mundo aquí lo oferta. Me lo dices o me lo cuentas. Nuestra verdad aquí nada.
All right, let's jump right in, huh? We've got a deep dive today on some pretty serious allegations against P Diddy.
Yeah.
We're looking at two different YouTube sources on this one, giving us some pretty different perspectives and levels of detail, too.
Right.
We're talking about some wild stories here. Some big names are going to pop up, and we're going to be peeking into these really exclusive parties, the kind that are, now under some pretty serious scrutiny.
Yeah, I think what's fascinating about this case right off the bat, just the sheer scale of it. Over 120 lawsuits filed against Diddy.
Oh, wow.
Alleging, a pattern of behavior over a long period of time. This is not just a few isolated incidents.
Right.
It suggests something much, much larger.
Yeah. And legally speaking, I mean, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Oh, yeah.
This case could drag on for years, could have massive implications for everyone involved.
Right.
So, just to remind everyone, we're talking about Sean P. Diddy Combs, arrested back in September 2024, facing a mountain of charges: sex trafficking, abuse, extortion. It's a lot.
Yeah, and right at the center of these accusations, Diddy's infamous freak parties. And, these weren't your average parties.
I was just going to say.
Multi-day events, super exclusive. You're talking A-list celebrities, athletes, music industry, elite.
The whole 9 yards.
Absolutely.
Oh, I can just picture it. Champagne, luxury locations, all vying for Diddy's attention. But
Yeah. But these sources paint a far darker picture.
Oh, yeah.
These parties, once, symbols of success and excess.
Right.
Now being portrayed as potential breeding grounds for criminal activity.
Oh, wow.
Some pretty serious accusations here. We're hearing about guests being drugged, coerced into sexual acts, really disturbing stuff. And it brings up that question of power and influence, especially someone like Diddy.
Yeah, how might someone in that position, someone with his wealth, his influence,
Right, exactly.
use that to their advantage?
You think about a young, aspiring artist wants to break into the industry, invited to one of these exclusive parties. They're surrounded by their idols, maybe offered drinks, introduced to powerful people. It's easy to see how someone could feel pressured to comply, or maybe too afraid to speak out against someone like Diddy.
Yeah, it's intimidating. And these sources go beyond those general accusations. They get into specific incidents.
Right.
And man, some of them are really disturbing. 2 Jane Does, one from 2000, another from 2014. And their stories are eerily similar. Both relatively young women lured with these promises, access, excitement. Both allege they were drugged.
Yeah, and the first Jane Doe case is just awful. A 13-year-old girl, totally starstruck, excited to see her favorite musicians at the MTV Video Music Awards.
Oh, no.
Allegedly meets a limo driver who works for Diddy. He promises to sneak her into Diddy's after party. Preying on that youthful enthusiasm, that admiration.
And awful. A 13-year-old girl manipulated like that. It's such a betrayal. And then years later, this similar pattern allegedly plays out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, this time a young woman invited to Diddy's suite at Planet Hollywood. And what's really striking is, in both these Jane Doe cases, other unnamed celebrities are allegedly involved.
You have to wonder who else was there, what they saw, and whether they'll be called to testify.
Right.
It's like a tangled web.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't stop there. These allegations, they go way beyond those 2 cases, right?
Oh, you got another case. A businessman claims that Diddy exposed himself to him, made unwanted advances during a Sarak Vodka promotional event.
Sarak Vodka. That name keeps popping up. Can you remind us about Diddy's connection to the brand?
Yeah, so Diddy has a very significant business relationship with Sarak. He actually took control of the brand's image and marketing for a while.
Oh, right.
So essentially, he's the face of the vodka.
Makes you wonder if there's a link there, right, between his business ventures and these alleged crimes.
Yeah, is there a connection? Was Sarak used to facilitate these alleged acts?
Yeah. It's a very disturbing thought. Hopefully the trial will shed some light on that. And speaking of which, it's set for May 5th, 2025.
Right.
Not that far off.
Right.
And the stakes are incredibly high. Diddy's career, his entire legacy is on the line.
And the outcome could have a huge impact on the entire industry.
Of course.
These allegations are incredibly serious, and one source actually claimed that the evidence against Diddy, including recordings and testimonies from victims, is pretty damning.
Wow. But we do have to acknowledge that Diddy maintains his innocence. His legal team claims the evidence is fabricated, so we'll have to let the legal process play out, see what happens. But there's another layer to this story that's hard to ignore. The other big names that are caught up in all this.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking Mary J. Blige, Lil' Kim, Nicki Minaj, even Justin Bieber, Maluma, Salma Hayek, Liam Payne. I mean, the list goes on.
And it's important to remember none of these celebrities are accused of any wrongdoing.
Yeah, but just being there, I mean, does it raise questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
What did they see? What did they know? Could their relationships with Diddy be called into question, as this goes to trial?
I mean, that's what a lot of people are wondering, and it's totally understandable.
Yeah.
Guilt by association, it's a powerful thing, especially in the court of public opinion.
Totally.
So, yeah, these celebrities, whether they like it or not, they're linked to this now. Their reputations are on the line.
Yeah, it's like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Spreading through the industry. And even beyond the legal stuff, beyond the reputations, this case, it really shines a light on that dark side of fame and power, right?
Absolutely. It makes you wonder how many other stories are out there.
Right.
Hidden behind NDAs and fear of speaking out.
Right.
How many people have been silenced because they were afraid to go up against someone so powerful.
Exactly. And speaking of NDAs, they play a big part in this too, don't they?
Yeah, they do. It's alleged that Diddy used NDAs to silence victims, protect his reputation. Now, NDAs themselves, they're common in the industry, meant to protect sensitive information, trade secrets, things like that.
Right.
But in this case, they're being portrayed as a way to silence victims of abuse.
Yeah, and you think about that power imbalance. You've got a young woman maybe feeling vulnerable, intimidated, up against Diddy, this music mogul, all these resources, lawyers. It's just, how can you even begin to talk about free consent in that situation?
Exactly. And these NDAs, they're legally binding.
Yeah.
Often come with financial penalties if you break them.
Yeah.
So even if a victim wants to come forward later, they might be legally prevented from doing so. It's so difficult to speak out against someone with that kind of power.
Yeah. It makes me think about that Jane Doe from 2014. She was invited to a party, I think.
Right.
And she met Mary J. Blige, Lil' Kim, and Nicki Minaj there.
Wow.
And then she went to this after party at Diddy's suite, and she was allegedly given a bottle of Ciroc and later blacked out, woke up feeling disoriented, and had some pain, leading her to believe she had been assaulted.
Yeah, that's so disturbing, especially the grooming, the manipulation that allegedly happened.
Right.
She was drawn in by the excitement of meeting these famous musicians, going to these exclusive events. There was a sense of trust there, and then that trust was just shattered. It's awful to think that admiration for celebrities could be exploited like that.
It's a reminder that we can't just, put celebrities on a pedestal. We need to hold them accountable, just like anyone else. And we need to support those who come forward, no matter how powerful the person they're accusing is. But, it goes beyond Diddy himself. There's this bigger question of complicity. What about the people who worked for him, his team? Did they know? Did they enable any of this?
Yeah, one source uses the term moral injury.
Yeah.
To describe the position some of Diddy's employees might have been in.
Interesting.
Imagine working for him, seeing what's happening, but fearing for your job, your reputation, your whole livelihood.
Right.
Would you speak up? Knowing what could happen,
Yeah.
it's a terrible, terrible dilemma. And it highlights those complex relationships and power dynamics at play.
It's complicated. And there were hints along the way, right? Whispers, red flags. One source mentioned that Liam Payne interview from 2017.
Oh, right.
He talked about feeling uncomfortable at one of Diddy's parties.
Yeah.
And then there's that clip of Salma Hayek. She's on a talk show, and Diddy's name comes up, and she cringes.
It's telling, right?
Yeah.
Suggests that there's this undercurrent of, unease, a sense that something wasn't right.
Uh-huh.
Makes you wonder how many people saw things but didn't feel like they could speak up.
They didn't want to rock the boat.
Right. Maybe they felt like they had too much to lose. Their careers, their livelihoods, all tied to Diddy's success.
Yeah. This case really brings up some tough questions about complicity, about that culture of silence that surrounds powerful figures.
Absolutely. And it underscores the need for accountability. This case could be a real turning point. It could force a reckoning in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that fame, power, it doesn't make you untouchable.
Right.
And the pursuit of justice, it has to go beyond celebrity status. It also reminds us that we, as a society, we have a responsibility to speak up, to support victims, and hold those responsible accountable.
It's a lot to process. It's a heavy topic, but these are conversations that we need to have. This case is about way more than just one person. It's about the systems that allow abuse to happen, the cultures that protect abusers, and it's about the need for collective action to create a world that's safer and more just.
Yeah, it feels like, I don't know, a real turning point, not just for Hollywood, but for, like, everyone.
Right.
Like, how could this have gone on, allegedly, for so long with no consequences? What does that say about all of us?
It really makes you think about how we view celebrity, how we view power, you know? Do we just look the other way when someone's famous or rich? Even if they're doing bad things, do we just care about being entertained? It's like, what are our priorities? What are our values?
Exactly.
I think we need to be more careful about who we support, more aware of what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We can't just be passive consumers of all this, you know?
Yeah.
We got to think critically, ask questions, hold people accountable.
Okay, so let's circle back to this whole vodka connection because it keeps coming up.
Yeah.
It feels like more than just a coincidence that Sarak was always there at these parties in these allegations.
It's definitely more than just a passing mention. Multiple sources, they all say that Sarak was present at these freak parties.
Yeah.
And that it was used to, well, to make these alleged crimes happen.
Right.
And remember, Diddy wasn't just the face of Sarak. He was involved in the whole brand, the marketing, everything.
Right, right. So you're saying there's a possible connection between his business and the alleged abuse.
It's definitely something investigators are going to be looking into.
Yeah.
Did he use Sarak to, you know, manipulate people? To take advantage of him?
Yeah, like, was it being offered too freely? Was it used to lower inhibitions or something?
It's a serious question. Another layer to this whole case.
Yeah.
And it'll be fascinating to see what comes out in the trial.
Speaking of, it's coming up fast, May 5th, 2025.
Yeah.
It's going to be big. Do you think justice will be served? Do you think there will be real change in the industry?
It's hard to say what will happen, but one thing is for sure. This whole thing has sparked a conversation.
Yeah.
About the dark side of fame and how we need to do better, be more accountable, especially in the entertainment world.
So what does this all mean for us? For people listening, what can we take away from all of this?
Well, I think it's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
We need to pay attention, be informed, and we can't just sit back and watch this stuff happen.
Right.
We have to ask questions, look beyond the surface. These celebrities, these powerful people, they need to be held accountable for their actions.
It's like a call to action.
It is.
We can't just wait for someone else to fix this. It's on all of us to speak out against injustice, to support those who've been hurt, and to demand better from the people and systems that shape our world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This deep dive, wow. This has been a lot, hasn't it? But it's so important that we talk about these things. So keep an eye on this case as it moves forward, and let's keep working together to create a world where justice and accountability, you know, actually means something.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Me lo dices o me lo cuentas, en el aire lo sentimos, rap y corridos tumbados, en la calle distinguimos, no paramos, es el ritmo que la noche va marcando, lo que quieras, dale tiempo pa' que sigas improvisando. Me lo dices, me lo cuentas, vamos juntos a bailar, es el flow que se conecta, nunca vamos a parar. Dime qué es lo que prefieres, en la calle o en el mar, en el barrio o en tus sueños, siempre listo para gozar.